This video is sponsored by my favorite website creator, Squarespace, the best place to go when you want to get a domain or create a gorgeous website or an online store. So, do you like mornings or do you dread them to the point of despair? I have always been a cutesy little morning person. Nothing better than waking up when the whole world is still asleep, if you ask me. So this is what I have been doing, getting up earlier at around 5:30ish, turning back my rhythm to early mornings to get as many hours as possible before cooking lunch at around noon. I find that there are some things that happen to you, mentally and physically, when you wake up that early. So, hello, let's talk about it. You know the feeling, you wake up when it's still dark outside and you put on your flannel pajamas and you only light a few candles without turning on any lamps, and you read an utterly moody classic to the sound of, Chopin's gorgeous piano. No one to disturb you for at least an hour when, the rest of the world wakes up and start up their incessant noise. I've always treasured that time, being alone in the whole world, being awake the moment the sky starts to turn a little bit lighter. The romance of it. Man, I get chills just thinking about it. That being said, my early mornings have been mostly cancelled these last few years, or should I say postponed maybe, because I've been working such long days and so long into the evenings that I haven't gone to bed in a timely enough fashion to have the energy to wake up by myself when the world is still dark and quiet. So I've told you in other videos that I've been meaning to turn back my rhythm to an early morning one where I finish work at around 4 p.m, then exercise for a couple of hours, then read for 2 hours and then have dinner at 8, more or less getting ready for bed at around 10 or 11, instead of, cooking dinner at 10 p.m. and then crashing into bed completely exhausted at midnight. And the lovely news is that I've been slowly getting back into rhythm this autumn. Now that renovations are done and the book is safely published into the world, my weeks have finally started to slow down and become less stressful and more sustainable. And with that, I'm waking up early in the morning, no matter if it's a work day or on a weekend morning off. I love nothing more than to wake up first before anyone else, which is quite hard to do because I am not the only morning bird in this apartment, and on most days David will wake up before me. So I've gone for it. 5:30ish every morning for a week now, an hour or so before David. To do this, I've had to set the alarm, which is something that I almost never do and I really quite hate doing. But for this experiment, it just had to be worth it. And so far, waking up this early, I love it. One of my favorite things about waking up early in the mornings is that you get that feeling of having a head start on yourself. Compare this to the rushed feeling when you sleep longer than planned, waking up an hour later than normal and the whole day feeling you have catching up to do. It's my least favorite, that sense of being behind because you overslept. So 5:30, that means I can do everything throughout the whole day at a leisurely pace. I can take my time in the shower, I can cook lunch slowly to music, I can take a break to watch all the cat videos David has saved up for me on TikTok, and maybe the best thing of all, the sneaking in a makeout session whenever you want to. Basically a feeling that you can calm things down and slow yourself. That is so invaluable for my stress levels. Do you also feel that you get a head start if you wake up early, but you have catching up to do if you wake up late? Maybe for you night owls, it's not like this.Maybe you know that you have time at night to catch up, so a late morning doesn't bother you. Do tell me, I'm curious to know. Of course, sitting at my desk at 6 a.m. instead of 8 will affect my whole work life quite tremendously. I told you before that my brain is in its best shape in the morning and the afternoons are my most tired, sluggish, stupid time before getting a brief focus peak around 8 at night again. So since this is my brain curve, I feel I should listen to it and not force my brain to be very active and smart after lunch. Waking up this early, it means I get 6 uninterrupted hours of work before lunch, which is just ridiculously efficient. And you know what the best thing about those 6 hours are? That I only have 2 more hours left of work after lunch, and those 2 hours, they can be lazy. I've done such amazing and utterly creative and highly intelligent work already, those final 2 hours are more or less about wrapping up some loose ends, replying to a few emails, like drafting a little TikTok, and yes, maybe make out a bit with David. It's honestly so relaxing to not feel stressed in the afternoon, but to like slowly calm things down before going on a 2-hour cozy autumn walk with a to-go cup of coffee, to then come home to, listen to this, 2 hours of reading before dinner. Am I living the dream? After 4, 5, 6, 8, I don't even know how many years of working from home, I think I have finally made it a sustainable work week. Thank you, thank you. Yes, I know, it is quite an accomplishment. Another effect of 5:30 mornings is one that some people will love and others will probably absolutely hate, and that is feeling sleepy in the evening. When I wake up around 7 or 7:30, I never really feel sleepy at night, and I only really go to bed because, you know, it's time to go to bed. But 5:30 in the morning, that means that around 9, you will start longing for your bed. Your eyes will get heavy, you will get all like skin sensitive and cozy, and nothing will seem lovelier than that cool, crisp cotton pillow of yours. Personally, I love this feeling. Feeling sleepy and then being allowed to go to bed is one of the sweetest luxuries, if you ask me. It's like feeling thirsty and someone giving you a tall glass of ice cold water, or like the smell of green curry on the stove when you're absolutely famished, or like a hot shower after a really cold walk. You know what I mean? Basically giving your body what it wants. What can be lovelier? I think like if I was just left to my own devices, my preferred sleeping pattern would change quite a lot depending on time of year. You know, growing up in Sweden meant always being tired and sleepy in dark winter and always feeling like energized and wide awake on bright light summer nights. I love this seasonal shift. I feel like I get to have 2 personalities, one sleepy, homebody, hibernating Jenny in winter, and one like energetic, social, wild Jenny in the summer. So in darkest winter, my natural rhythm might be sleeping 9 hours per night, and in summer I can do with probably around 6. That being said, no matter what time of year and how many hours per night, I can choose where to put my 6 to 9 hours. So like early up and early to sleep, or late up and late to bed. My new rhythm will be the early one, and this is why I have sort of like jump-started it by setting the alarm on 5:30 for a week. I will stop setting the alarm now because one of the best things about being your own boss, working from home, is that if you don't want to, you never again have to set an alarm. And that is a beautiful thing if there ever was one. So I'm hoping that I have sort of trained my inner clock to wake up earlier. It's not going to be 5:30, but hopefully around 6 or 6:30 from now on without the alarm. I think it's actually my natural way of being, because when I was a little kid, I would wake up at like 5 more or less every morning without an alarm and just read in bed before school, like the little bookworm that I am. It's still my favorite time of day, and I don't want to work so late that I miss out on that beautiful hour when the world is still quiet and you start hinting that first light to the east in the sky. The romance, right? Maybe it's not romance for you. Maybe 5:30 sounds like actual torment and your favorite hour is 1 a.m. when the world is quiet for another reason. Or maybe you are the weirdest one of all, one of those very few strange people who most of all enjoy the horrible hour 2 p.m. Do tell me in the comments. No matter which, I think life is loveliest when we listen to our rhythms and like our natural curves and our own bodies and brains and see patterns for when we are most happy and try to steer our everyday towards that rhythm and pattern as best that we can. 5:30, if you've never tried it, maybe do the experiment with me for a week. It sure is like a world-altering way of living. I hope you enjoyed this video, my friends. Do let me know if you want more of these lifestyle type of videos in the future. You know I love getting requests from you guys. Also, give me a like and subscribe if you haven't yet, so that I will see you next week already. Now, do you want to create a beautiful site and maybe start your own blog? If so, you should definitely do it with Squarespace. Listen to this, with Fluid Engine, a next generation website design system, it's never been easier for you to unleash your creativity. So you start with an incredible template and customize everything by simply dragging and dropping. It seriously couldn't be easier. Squarespace is also amazing with blogging tools to share your stories, photos and videos to make it easy to reach your audience. You can also auto-post your content to Twitter, Facebook or Tumblr. They also have great traffic analytics so that you can see how many people are visiting your site, how long they're staying for, where they're coming from, and what they're interested in, like travel or languages or maybe fashion, for example. So what are you waiting for? Go get your free trial today at squarespace.com, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/JennyMustard to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Okay, thank you so much to Squarespace, and thank you guys for hanging out today, and have a lovely, beautiful week of delicious early or late mornings ahead. See you soon. Puss puss, and god morgon!